Hey, what's up? This is Winston, lead vocalist from Parkway Drive, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, bring you guys awesome interviews. And today it is an honor and a privilege to have Mr. Winston McCall. He is the lead vocalist of Parkway Drive, and Parkway Drive has released their 6th full-length album called Reverence, out now via Epitaph Records. So finally I got that out. What's going on, Winston?
It's all good, man. Not much. We're getting ready to gig again. We're out on the road, and it feels kind of surreal to have done 6 albums. It's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, 6 albums in today's time, man, is like 20, if you think about it, from back in the day.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. Like, we've been doing this for 15 years now, and like, I'm turning 36 this year, so it's coming up on almost half of my life being in this band, which is insane. So yeah, I'm stoked. I'm really, really happy.
You say 36? Man, I'm 38. Jeez, man.
Oh, hey, that's all good. It's just experience. That's the thing. The whole experience. So yeah.
Let's jump right into this album, because I know this album kind of took a toll on you guys a little bit. So writing this album about grief and overcoming emotional situations, did this let you get out your frustrations, and did the writing process come easy, or was it a challenge for this record for you, man?
It was yes and no to both of those. Basically, the music for the album came reasonably easily, simply because the way we approached it was just like anything goes. Like whatever we find interesting and whatever we have ideas musically wise, we just explored them to the fullest degree, just simply on the knowledge that we've been doing this for a long time and we like what we play, and if that's good enough for us, that's what's going to be the end goal. Lyrically is where it became challenging, because when it comes to writing lyrics, I write them over generally the period of time that we're writing the music, which takes a couple of years, because we distill everything to a very, very small degree to make sure every avenue is explored. And while I was writing all this stuff, we had friends and family members diagnosed with cancer, and we were going through basically the shell shock of how to cope with that within the band, and how to cope with that as people, and how to function under such duress. And then a few months later, we had to deal with losing those people. So it was a huge, huge personal impact to take on for all of us, and we all processed it in our own way. But for me, the lyrics came out simply because it was so consuming that it was the only thing that I could write down. I had to deal with these things. So yeah, it came out far more personal than anything we've done before. And it was an outlet in the sense that was all I could write, but it wasn't something where I was like, I'm writing this down and now it makes me feel better. It was simply just a documentation of how horrible that period of time was. So yeah, it's an interesting one.
That's the beauty of music, man. It lets you to escape for a while, and it lets you to release everything that you need to get out there. So there you go.
That's it, exactly. And the thing is, for this band, that's what it's always been. The music that you hear has been the soundtrack of us growing as people and us, our lives. We've never at any point in time tried to tailor our music to hit one specific sound or a market, or try and second guess what people want. We've always just written for ourselves and gotten out of our music what we need to get out of it. And it's been so awesome that people have connected with this band to the degree where it's become such a crazy entity. But for us, it's always gone from that tiny core of it gives us what we need. And yeah, I guess I'd be a very different person if I didn't have music, put it that way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, me too. There's not a day that I don't listen to music. It has to be in my life every single day, no matter what I'm doing. It has to be there.
Yeah.
What's impressed you the most about making a new album? What's caught your eye about it the most, if anything, for you, man?
That's a hard one, to be honest. The biggest thing with this album for me was I was stoked to be able to do something and have like after going through all the stuff that we've gone through, it puts everything in a very clear perspective, in the sense of, like, you only have a certain amount of time on this planet and it can end like that. So do exactly what you want to do and put the effort into making it exactly what you want and being honest with it. And this was the album where there was definitely a faith in ourselves that we've never had before, and a faith in our abilities. And there was no point where we like reached for safety rather than experimentation, simply because safety, we know it works. It's been done before. There's sounds that we've done before on this record because that was what was needed, but there's a lot of sounds on the record which we've never tried before, which in the past probably would have been watered down due to just the fear of like, oh, can we do this? This time it was like, yep, you know what, like, we want to do this, so we're just going to work on it till it happens.
How long did it take you guys to record this album once you guys got into the swing of things?
The actual recording process takes about 3 or 4 months for us. We're not like a band that can go in and just like punch out an album in 4 weeks. Like it takes a long time. And we have an interesting recording process because it takes that amount of time. Like, I don't want to be sitting there in the studio while they test out snare drums for 3 weeks or get guitar tones or anything like that. So basically we do like a few weeks of pre-production before we go in. And in that time, we set the album like 98% in stone, and we record like a really scratchy B-grade version of what the album's going to sound like, but structurally it's all there. And then we all go away separately and do our parts and just make a more polished version of what that pre-production is. So Ben goes away and does his drumming by himself and drums to the scratch tracks from the pre-production. Then Jeff and Luke go away and do the guitar parts for a month. Then I follow like a month later and do the vocal parts. And we just go away and make a more polished version of that concept which we had in pre-production. So we're not actually sitting there like hawking each other while the recording process goes on. I think it has its pros and cons, but it involves a lot of faith from us. But at the same time, it means like the drummer, the guitarist, and the vocalist can really focus on what they do without someone else going, "Oh, try this, I've got a sick idea," and having no idea how vocals or guitars or drums work and just wasting time.
Oh, that's awesome. I thought this is cool what you guys have done. You kept it in-house. How was working with producer and longtime Parkway Drive sound engineer, George Hendricks too? Oh, I know I pronounced it wrong, but I gave it a try.
No, that's all good. Haji Christou. I'll throw him out there because it's like, he's the man. Like it was George and his brother Dean, the production crew. Dean engineers it and has the studio, and George produces it and is really good with the songwriting and sounds and stuff. And it's the same crew we ran on IRA as well. But it feels like family. That's the thing for us. And it's, to be honest, this time around there was never even like a conversation about who do we go with this time. It was just, we recorded with George and Dean. Like, they're family, they're part of the band. So they're just the recording part of it. And it's really, really awesome because we're on the same page. And ultimately, like, this band has always been a live band first that we then try and capture the essence of on a record. So when it comes to like knowing what we do live, knowing who we are, knowing how things translate in a live situation, knowing tones, every minute thing, like George sits out the front of the house every single, like he's been to every Parkway gig for 10 years now or something. Oh, wow. So there's no one more in that zone. So it just makes sense. And the fact that he can pull tones and stuff that he does and work the studio as well as he does is just the icing on the cake. So it's a really cool scenario.
And plus, it's somebody that you are familiar with and you're comfortable working with. I mean, do they push you guys hard?
That's it.
You know?
That's it. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And the good thing is, like, it's exactly like you nailed it. Like, it's so good working with someone that you've known for so much of your life, and the communication is exactly on the same level. Like, we go into the studio, we know each other as people, and when they push and they're aiming for something, you know what they're aiming for, that you know where they're trying to get you to, and you don't take offense to some strangers telling you you're doing a shit job.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's good.
It's like, I'm going to kick your ass when I get done with this song.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
I know this may change from day to day, and I know this is like picking your favorite collectible or child, but are there any songs off the Reverence album, hey, I said it right that time, my friend, that stand out more to you than any on it as of right now? Maybe.
Oh man, it's like you said, this out of all albums is the hardest one for me to answer, simply because the way we tailored the songs was So every single song had a very specific character and had a very different feel from anything on it. It's not like there's two songs, which is like, here's song A and here's song A part 2 kind of thing that comes later in the record. They're all so different that they give me something different every listen. And I find myself listening to the record and being taken to a different place with everyone. So it depends what mood I'm in. Like, that's the thing. Like, I love the soft songs. I love the weird songs. I love the straight up just bangers. I love the anthems. Like, it's out of every record we've done, this is the most eclectic group of tunes. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the hard one.
Yeah, and I've seen so many mixed reviews about this album. I'm like, come on, folks. Just go freaking listen to it. It's Parkway Drive. It's got to be good. You know? That's my thoughts.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that. But at the end of the day, like, I can completely understand it. Like, it's music, and music is personal, and I would be, like, a fool to think that every single person on the planet digs every single sound that comes out.
Sure, I agree. Yeah.
But that being said, like, we don't aim to please anyone other than ourselves, and that's not from us going, we know best. It's simply because we're the ones that will play and listen to this stuff the most out of anyone. As much as someone's like, I've been a fan for 10 years. If I add up the amount of shows you've seen us, like, it's not even going to cast a shadow on what we do. I have to sit here and listen to these songs and be a fan of these songs while I'm playing them every single night. Like, I'll do over 100 shows a year. So
right.
That's the way it works.
Yeah. So, Winston, would you say this album has allowed you to grow more as a musician and as a band and expand out more musically, or has it just been more just a personal growth for all of you guys?
Oh, no, it's a combination. That's the thing. The personal growth is reflected in the music. So it's like, this is the biggest growth that we've ever had sonically. And it's never been about, like, trying to usurp what we've done in the past or, like, wipe away. Like, we do have a large back catalogue of music, and we're not trying to, like, to destroy that. We're simply trying to add to it. And every time we build, like, we build on top of a very strong foundation. And if the foundation is strong, there's no point in, like, carving away at that and just trying to remake the foundation. I'd rather go somewhere completely different. So out of everything we've done, this is probably the one. Like, I can understand, again, someone that loves a record from 10 years ago and then listens to this and like, man, it sounds so different. I'm like, yeah, it does. It sounds 10 years worth of difference. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So everything about this is growth.
Yeah. And if this is just my opinion, folks. If you're a band and you can't grow, then there's something badly wrong.
Or you're AC/DC and you're just cranking out hits until you die.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I give you that one. Touche, Winston McCall. Touche.
Nah, it's fine. I get exactly what you're saying. That's the thing. That's the thing. So yeah, we're not. We love doing music because it allows us to grow. That's the thing. And we have no plan on just like running on a treadmill and just cranking out what like. It would be quite easy to put up a survey and say, what do people want us to play? Then collect that survey and tailor some songs to it. But at the end of the day, like, what are you doing? You're basically just creating some soulless advertising. Like, I don't want to be background noise. I'd rather someone be annoyed at what we make than not listen to what we make because it's predictable.
Now, I got to see you guys live a couple of years ago. I believe at Louder in Life, if I'm not mistaken. What can folks expect at a show from the mighty Parkway Drive? And you guys just played Carolina Rebellion, too. We'll get into that in just a minute as well.
Yeah, energy. First and foremost, energy. Like, it's that we started this band because we love what we do and we love the energy of creating a soundtrack for adrenaline and feeling. And that's only grown as we've gone on. Like, it's gone from simply just like mosh anthems to being able to give someone something that they can't get when they put a CD in a CD player or a record on, or you're listening to the radio. We want this to be like louder than life and larger than life, and we want you to feel something which you couldn't get anywhere than when you're watching a Parkway gig. And that's all we aim to do. And every time we try and step it up another notch, and whether or not we're playing for 15 minutes or 2 hours, that's the goal every single time. So there's no real way to describe what a Parkway gig is, but when I'm standing on stage and I'm smiling because the crowd's going mental, that's because I love what we're doing, and that's the feeling. Like, the connection between us and the audience and lifting the whole thing up is what the whole Parkway experience is about.
How was Carolina Rebellion for you guys this past weekend? Yeah, this past weekend.
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. It would look like a stampede. Like, as soon as we started, like, mosh pit was just insane, like the entire set, and it was dry as hell, so it was just these like dust tornadoes going up in the middle of the field, and just a swarm of crowd. I saw someone like crowd surfing on a giant inflatable rubber ducky. Like, so yeah, it was an adventure. I'll put it that way. It made me grin.
That's awesome. Do you like the digital era that we're in right now of recording albums, and plus, social media to get things out there quicker to fans, and plus reach new fans? Do you like this that we're in right now, or no?
I don't think I have a choice to like or dislike, to be honest, because it's happening. I think what's going on at this point in time is we've hit this really interesting era where technology is advancing faster than we can comprehend what's actually going to be the result from it. So we're left with these very polarizing opinions and polarizing personalities, and it's shaping the way we consume music so quickly that it's hard to even get a gauge on it, because as soon as you go, yeah, I like what it's doing, some new thing pops up and you're like, whoa, didn't expect that, like flip of the coin. Never thought streaming would all of a sudden take over. Like 2 years ago, it was all about downloading, and now it's all about streaming. So yeah, like I'm not going to say I'm on the fence with it. I'm simply evolving with it, because to think that people are going to sit there and listen to one medium for their entire life is very, I think, naive. I think with all the advances we're making, there's still going to be more advances to come. And to be honest, I think it's more exciting. I think you've got to roll with it. Otherwise, I don't know, we'd still be listening to records on gramophones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, I think bands should go do pay-per-views. I mean, if folks can't get to a show, they could do... Yeah, that's an interesting
one, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Dude, it's an interesting era. Like, wait till virtual reality comes out, man. Think of what the hell is going to start happening when that's a thing. So, it's a very interesting time to be alive.
In your own opinion, Winston, what does Parkway Drive bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, possibly?
Oh, geez. I don't know, because as someone who's involved in this band, it's personal. So all I try and create is something that's honest and something that connects with me in a genuinely human way, and something that's interesting, and something that is not necessarily aiming to slot into little boxes and little name tags, which everything seems to be about now. Like, not just within music, like there's so many labels everyone wants to put on everything, and it seems to be all about like fitting a label or defining a label or anything like that. And at the end of the day, we forget the fact that every single person on this planet is a different individual. And this band is 5 individual people, and we aim to sound like 5 individual people rather than sound like 15 other bands that already do their thing. We simply are Parkway Drive, and that's it. So love it or hate it, that's all it's going to stand for. And as different or as unique or ununique as it is, that's the end result.
Support-wise, is there a country or a location that stands out more or even surprises you guys get support from that area?
Europe is pretty, like Germany especially, is pretty insane these days. Like, if you had told me 10 years ago, Germany is going to be your biggest market, I would have just rolled around on the floor laughing. But it's kind of got to a very ridiculous level over there now. Like, it's just, I don't know. When we started doing this, we literally, like, we're from a town with 15,000 people in our entire town. We started playing in a youth center because there's no music venues in our town. And like 15 years on, like we're being put on stages and saying, yo, headline in front of 100,000 people, 10,000 people coming to your concert, cool. Drum kit that goes on upside down, put on whatever party you want. It's like, what the hell has this become? Like, how the hell has it become this popular? It's really really awesome. But there's so many times where we'll be on stage, like especially in Germany, and all the pyro's going off, and it's like you're bouncing across stage, and you look at a sea of humans losing their minds, and you just look at each other and just laugh, because it's just so ridiculous that this has been possible for people where we're from playing what we do.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I mean, I got took on Silverchair from Australia. That's what really sparked me.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, who are these guys?
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Like, that's the stuff that we got brought up on. Like, we had to learn Silverchair songs at like in year 7, like grade 7 music. Yeah. So that's rad. I'm stoked.
Any show or moment that stands out to you that you can recall? I mean, as being part of Parkway Drive, that stands out to you that that's been an awesome show, possibly, or just.
I'll give you a really recent one. 3 nights ago, or maybe it was 4 nights ago, we got to play in Silver Springs. And we played there like 3 times, and it was like the show was absolutely mental. They're always like some of the best shows we play. But the whole way through the set, there was this little kid on this dude's shoulder, like front and center in the mosh pit, and he stayed there the entire set until the last song. And I'm just like, yo, come up here. Like, this kid's like, turns out he was, I think, 10 years old, and it turns out it was his father holding, like, he had his kid on his shoulders in the mosh pit the entire time. And I pulled the kid up, and I pulled the dad up, and then I couldn't see another 2 of the kids in the pit in front of the dad. So the whole family came up over the barrier, and then mum and the daughter and another son like came up, and it was an entire family in the pit at a Parkway gig. And that like not only blew my mind, but it squeezed my heart so much. Like, I was just like, this is what we're able to give people, like an entire family connection where they can come and listen to like a very heavy concert, feel safe, be able to have an outlet, be able to have something that brings them together. And like, it was one of those things where I just couldn't believe it, to be honest. And it makes like not only my day, but it makes me realize how much this is actually worth to people. Yeah. And there's no greater feeling, to be honest. So it was really nice.
And there you go, man. Music is for every age that is out there.
That's it.
Yeah.
I
think that
it is.
That is so freaking awesome that they brought their kid there, man. To that. That's unbelievable. That's made my day. That's cool. That's cool as hell.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That made mine too, trust me, and I'm still thinking about it, so I'm glad I got to share it.
What's it mean to you guys? And I know you guys get this when you receive an email from a fan or prior to the shows or after the shows, Winston, they tell you that Parkway Drive's music has helped them get over a bad experience or gave them the inspiration to overcome something that just needed that extra little push, or it just let them get away from the everyday bullshit that we go through. What's it mean to you guys?
Oh, everything. Absolutely everything. Like, because that's what the music gives me. That's the thing. Like, that means that, like, that's the feeling that I get from being in this band. Like, I write these things down to deal with things and to get me through something or to vent something or to put me in a place where regular everyday life just doesn't take me. And for that to translate to someone and for them to be able to get that same thing and for me to give that gift to them is massive. Like, it's absolutely massive. Like, the way I've always listened to music, like, I don't connect with I'm just like, I don't want to be the guy that bashes everything, but I don't connect with just pop music, because for me it just sounds like background noise. It sounds like a commercial. They're like someone's trying to sell you something and it just disappears. But music that sticks with me makes me feel something, and it gives me something in that time and place which takes me somewhere I need to be. And the idea that we can do that for someone else is like, man, I can't even put that into words. That's the thing. And that's the reason, like, you see us play live and you'll see a massive cheesy grin plastered over my face. And that's simply because I get to look down and see these people getting something from what we're doing. And I could never have predicted this. That's the thing. You can never predict something like this. So it's really cool.
I just like to say, as a fan of Parkway Drive for the last several years, Irie has been a big part of me. That album has hit me pretty hard, actually.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
I love putting that album on and just listening to it and getting away for a couple hours. So thanks as a fan, man, first and foremost.
Thank you. I think, like, thank you so much for saying that, but, like, thank you for listening. Like, and that goes to everyone else listening to this. Like, we'll never be able to truly communicate to everyone what being in this band has given us. Like, we're literally high school failures from a town, one of the smallest towns in our country, the highest unemployment rate in our country, playing music for our friends. And to be able to be, like, on album number 6, to have people tell them this means something, to have people coming to shows, like, giving us a life doing something that we care about. It's so, man, if I can make some music that connects with someone and they can get something out of it, that's the least I'm going to try and do. So thank you.
Folks, Reverence is out right now. You want to go pick up this full-length album from the mighty Parkway Drive. Give it a chance. It's really good. Winston, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, pick up some merchandise, tickets, tour dates? How can you do that for the ones who don't know?
We're around. Find Parkway Drive on social media or the internet somewhere. There might be flyers put up somewhere, I'm not sure, but we're around. Like, the record's just come out, so basically we are starting touring. We're on the road right now for like a week more, but we'll be back later this year. There's a full headlining tour being announced pretty soon. It's like we're coming out playing as much as we can, and the bands that are coming with us are absolutely amazing. The shows are going to be absolutely killer. And if you want to come and say hi to us at shows or anything, or you see me in the street and you want to say hi, say hi. Like, I'm just a dude, and I like meeting new people, and if you're a friendly face, then I always like a chat.
I hope you guys are at Louder in Life this year. Maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think because
crap.
we actually go from, it would have been nice, but it clashes exactly with some European festivals. So we go straight from this to 7 days at home and then fly off to Europe for 5 weeks. So it's this is the start of rush hour for us as a band. But we'll be back. That's the thing. It's a crazy thing. Like, we get to play literally around the world, but that means while we're playing somewhere, another place misses out. So yeah, we're always coming back though.
Oh, sure.
We're always coming back.
Before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for the show?
Of course. Cool. Hey, what's up? This is Winston, lead vocalist from Parkway Drive, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great music coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Thank you so much, Winston.
My pleasure, man. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
You too.